The second season of Squid Game has been anticipated for years by fans all over the world, but now that it has finally been released, many viewers feel very disappointed. In fact, the new season has been marked by a series of controversies even before its release, and a lot of netizens have complained about some weird casting choices. Among the many new faces that appear in the second season, one of the most controversial ones is Lee Jung Jae. Back in 2016, he was at the center of a huge scandal after a woman accused him of forcing himself on her. After a long legal battle that went on for years, he was ruled not guilty because there was no proof of him threatening the woman. The odd reasoning behind this decision has left netizens baffled, and many think he was actually guilty and his career should be over. The decision to cast Big Bang's T.O.P. as the rapper Thanos has also caused a lot of discussion. In 2017, he was sentenced to 10 months in prison, suspended for 2 years for using illegal substances, and while he apologized and finished his probation period without further offenses, many netizens still haven't forgiven him. As more and more people protested his presence in the new season of Squid Game, the director of the series, Hwang Dong-hyuk, defended him, praising his acting abilities and his commitment to his role. However, after the release of the new season, many viewers found T.O.P's performance to be underwhelming, and some reviews even stated that his lack of acting abilities ruined the immersion in the show. In fact, T.O.P's acting has been described as a huge flaw in the show, and some reviews pointed out that his awkward behavior and the cringe-worthy rap lines of his character had viewers turning off their TV. Another controversy that exploded before the release of Season 2 surrounds the character of Hyunju, a transgender woman played by Park Sung-hoon. While many praise the choice to include this character in the series, netizens have pointed out that the production team should have cast a real transgender woman instead of a cisgender man. The director explained this decision by stating that he actually looked for a transgender actress at first, but he couldn't find any, so he hired Sung-hoon because he had no other choice. With this series of controversies, Squid Game 2 was already fighting an uphill battle, but as the release date approached, the hype was still huge and many were hopeful that the sequel would be even better than the first season. The idea of seeing a much more determined Song Gi-hun competing in new and more brutal challenges together with a new set of characters felt interesting and compelling, and the teasers did a good job in building up anticipation, promising a mind-blowing sequel. However, the new season was met with mixed reviews after its release, with some critics praising various aspects of the show and others hating basically everything about it. One thing everyone seems to agree on is that the second season wasn't as good as the first one, and most viewers believe that the show has lost the unique edge that made the first season great. One review described the entire season as a thorough letdown, explaining that the show fails to bring back everything that was good about the first season and also doesn't add any more depth to the show's world. Another review agreed with this argument, explaining that the huge success of the first season needed a worthy sequel to keep up the hype. However, the second season ends up offering nothing novel, to the point that some are even wondering why this sequel was made. The new characters were also a bit disappointing, despite the fact that the show tried to build up their tragic stories. Among the participants are a transgender woman, a mother with her son, a failed YouTuber, and his former girlfriend, who's pregnant, and an arrogant rapper who lost all of his money. These characters feel interesting on paper, but almost everybody is fulfilling a similar plot function to someone who passed away in the first season, and this makes them feel less unique. Also, these characters already have too many pre-existing connections with each other, and the drama surrounding their interactions comes from their relationships rather than from the competition in the games. However, some characters have gained the praise of critics, and many liked how the show puts more focus on the guards who work in the game, making them more human and moving beyond the competitors. The plot of the new season has been met with a lot of criticism as well. Many felt that the show was a bit slow and boring at the start, and a lot of viewers have criticized how it takes 2 whole episodes before even getting to the games. One review explained that the way the show keeps pointing out Ji-hun's hate towards the people who created the Squid Game is unnecessary and takes up too much time. This initial portion of the series also introduces some characters that end up being unimportant for the rest of the show, adding to the feeling that the first 2 episodes were wasted. Another problem of this part of the show is the storyline of police detective Jun Ho looking for evidence about the existence of the Squid Game and helping Gi-hun in his battle. However, by the 3rd episode, Gi-hun is back in the game and Jun Ho hasn't achieved anything relevant. For the rest of the show, Jun-ho and his quest to look for the island where the games take place feel like a distraction, and his storyline only slows down the show. Even after the games begin, the show often feels slow and soon turns into a more generic action series that fails to top the unique feel of the first season. One thing that is surely missing is the shock of seeing how brutal the competitions can get, which is one of the aspects that made the first season a success. In fact, one review explained that while the challenges are still brutal, the series feels more disappointing than shocking, and the political messages behind the plot get completely lost. Also, one of the most anticipated aspects of the new season was the promise of seeing more about how the games work behind the scenes, but the show fails to deliver on this, as there isn't any further explanation about the system or the game managers. Another aspect of season 2 that has been widely criticized is how the 7 episodes of the show only serve to build up towards season 3, leaving too much up in the air. The way the season ends especially disappointed many viewers. The show builds up to a confrontation between the players and the guards, but the conclusion doesn't give any kind of closure. A critic pointed out that this aspect gives the impression that seasons 2 and 3 were written as a single story, and the plot was just cut somewhere in the middle to prolong the series for another season. This sentiment was echoed by other reviews, with some pointing out that the show was only split in half to double the profit. This was actually confirmed by the director, who explained that the sequels were originally conceived as one story, but as the episodes grew, the production team decided to divide the plot into 2 seasons. In any case, some still feel like the new season is unnecessary, and one critic argued that Squid Game was already perfect as a 1-season show and didn't need a sequel at all. Despite all this criticism, not everything about the second season was bad, and some critics have instead praised various aspects of the show. Some reviews called the second season even crazier than the first one, praising Lee Jung Jae for his performance in the role of Gi-hun. In fact, Jung Jae's acting was one of the best aspects of the new season, and his performance has been described as powerful and charismatic. A few critics have also argued that the second season raised the stakes even higher and managed to seamlessly connect thrilling action sequences with psychological games. Another one praised the consistency of the show, which returns to the same structure, costumes, settings, and themes that made the series a success. Some reviews also praised how the show avoids being too repetitive by finding new angles about the usual themes of exploitation and class inequality, adding new games to the competition and changing the voting system. An additional aspect that many loved is how most episodes deliver powerful endings, leaving viewers unable to stop watching. The performance of Gong Yoo in the role of the game recruiter has also received widespread acclaim. He plays a big role in the first episode of the new season, and his acting has been described as insane and groundbreaking, to the point that some are calling him the Korean Joker. Overall, it seems like the huge success of the first season resulted in high expectations about the sequel, and while the new season wasn't awful, it failed to live up to the hype, leading many viewers to feel disappointed. Despite this, Squid Game 2 is already a commercial success, and it became the first show in Netflix history to top the viewership charts in every country. With all the criticism surrounding the second season, it will be interesting to see if the third one, which will be released in 2025, will still have the same amount of hype and repeat this commercial success. The director of the series surely feels confident about the third season and has already stated that it's better than the second one, so all that's left is to wait and see.